Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. And welcome to Wednesday Word. Forgive me for being tardy, for being late. I apologize for my lateness. However, I am here. And I am grateful to see all of you. Rizzo, K Got a Body 13, Felicia Fee, Sexy Harlem, and KC, and to all of those who are in the bushes. I am grateful that you are here. Thank you for choosing to spend this little moment in time with me. I really appreciate it. And to all of my subscribers, to old subscribers, new subscribers, my day ones, I really appreciate every last one of you for your comments and all of that, which inspire me and keep me moving and keep me encouraged. I appreciate it. Step Reads, welcome. Diamond Jones, welcome. It's good to see you all. And again, as you see, the topic or the title is, do you have the time? And you can't turn back the hands of time. That's why it is so important that we think before we act, and we say what we mean and mean what we say, and then stand in it. Now, I'd like to share this scripture with you. I'd like to share this scripture with you, if you will, from Ecclesiastes 3. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heavens. Really, that says it all. That says it all. If we would read lower, we would read more. We would see that it describes the different times and the different stages and the different experiences in life that we face. And when we realize that everything moves in time. Everything moves in time. Our life moves in time. It is so related to time that we really can't step out of time, so to speak. That each season and each development of our lives are related to times and which help us to develop. Now, unfortunately, some people do not develop correctly with time, whether it is a deficiency they were born with or acquired um, in their life lessons that are not learned causes you to miss certain timings. And when you're not focused, or when you are not paying attention, when you decide to stay in a certain place, when you become too comfortable in a certain place, you can miss your time. There is a time even for success in your life. There is a downtime. There is a time of building and rebuilding. And so when you are not in tune, we have a tendency to miss those times and those seasons in our lives. And just like there are times when certain seasons seem negative, they seem negative. However, they are for our betterment. They are for our good. They are for our development, so that we develop an eye to see and an ear to hear. So it is unfortunate when some of us become comfortable in a time that has passed us by. And I'm sure um, we've all had experiences, even in our own lives, when time has moved on, but we have become so comfortable in a comfortable place that we refuse basically to move with time for a better life and a better situation. So I just came on for a moment to encourage you. Let's begin to pay attention with all that's going on right now, with the pandemic that's going on. We also see that we are getting ready to cross the threshold into the spring season. The spring season is a time for planting. It is a time for breaking up the fallow ground, breaking up that hard ground that the winter cold has made hard. And it is a time when we begin to break that up and we fertilize that soil, so that soil will produce whatever we plant in it. It is up to us. It is up to each one of us individually to take advantage of this time that we're in and not be stuck. Again, not be stuck in the comfort of this time. It can be a little nerve wracking to move with time. However, time has a wonderful way of bringing us out of discomfort, um, out of the known to the unknown, and then making the known the unknown, uh, making space for the unknown, that we can deal with it, that we don't have to fear the unknown. But those things that are unknown in time begins to be revealed, and we find out that we have the strength that we need to stand in any adversity, in any change, in any dispensation of time. Hey, Bashful V, how are you doing? Patricia Ellington, Mysterious Mermaid, Mr. Lovely Love Laughing. It's good to see you all. It's good to see you all. It is good to see you all. So when you see certain things happening, uh, and also spring is a time for revealing. It begins to reveal so many of the matters of the heart, things that were covered up by the summer snow and untouched, you know, because of the cold, untouched, we begin to see certain things. Certain things begin to be revealed. We begin to learn more about ourselves. The things that, or the personality traits that are not in line with where we want to go. Tiger Lily, welcome. It's good to see you. It reveals so much part of who we are. in this particular transition of time. So, my encouragement to everyone is let's be more cognizant of time because you cannot redeem the time. I'm going to say it again. You cannot turn back the hands of time. Once time has passed, it is gone and cannot be recaptured. So it is so very important that we appreciate the time that we have. And when we look back, we can look back and say, well, I didn't always make the right decisions, but however, I was able to adapt and adjust that it made me who I am. The seasons that I've already gone through, I don't have to go through those anymore. Because when you allow time to pass you by and you become comfortable, you wind up repeating the same thing, the same situation, because you have not learned from it. You have not moved on from it. You have not let it go. You cannot receive the blessings if you don't let things go. And we begin to see that as we look around every single day in our lives, in our experiences. We see that there are people around us that refuse to let things go. They refuse to adjust and adapt to a new day. You cannot eat yesterday's bread today. That's why in the prayer that Jesus taught, he says, give us this day our daily bread. Give us what is sufficient for today. Give us that new knowledge today that we didn't have yesterday. Because of the way things are changing, we need a more intricate knowledge. We need a more a knowledge that is more sufficient to deal with this day, with this season, with this time. We need to learn how to tell the time, not just by looking at the clock on the wall, but measuring where our life is, where it isn't, and where it should be, and then beginning to work to get there. There's nothing wrong with not being where you want to be. There's nothing wrong with not being where you want to be, but where you are being stagnant is a problem. It becomes a problem again when we don't adapt and adjust, when we don't move with the time. And again, you cannot receive the blessings of that particular day or that particular season if you are stuck and comfortable in the last season. So let us begin to develop. Let us begin to take off the old man. Yesterday's man really is not good enough for today. It is not going to sustain us for today. But taking off yesterday's man and putting on today's man gives us a brighter outlook. It gives us a further outlook. We can see beyond the clouds when we take off yesterday and put on today, because today is a gift. Today is a gift. This time is a gift. Tomorrow is a promissory note. And yesterday is nothing more than a check that has already been cashed. It's already been cashed. So let us accept the day and meet the day, meet the time where it is, and use it to our advantage. Planting in that day the seeds that will yield us a great harvest, a positive harvest. Because if you look around, you see the seeds that have been planted that are giving people or bringing to people their harvest or their great harvest, but that harvest is not sustaining. It is not sustaining. People are being exposed. People are saying stuff that they cannot live up to in this time. They've said things in times past. But when they are challenged by time, they cannot live up to it because it was a check that was written on an empty account. It's a check that was written on an empty account. So be who you are and be proud of who you are and who you are becoming in this time. For this is your time. This is your time. This is your time. And I don't have to be jealous of you because this is your time. I'm learning in my life more and more every day to rejoice with them that are rejoicing, those that are receiving the blessings and receiving the harvest of the good they've done. I celebrate them. I'm able to rejoice with them so often. And it is very funny with a lot of people, and a lot of people don't get it, is that how can you be just as happy for them as you would be with yourself? It is a practice. It is a practice. It is a behavior. It is a principle, because I know what I plant. What I plant, I am going to get exactly what I plant. So if I plant the seeds of joy and being happy for someone else as much as I would be happy with myself, it draws those kinds of people to me. So that when my season comes, when my time comes, when my harvest comes, everybody that I rejoiced with will rejoice with me. And the thing about harvest is, reaping a harvest is not selfish. Reaping a harvest is not selfish. Reaping a harvest, because you're so overjoyed, you want to share. You want to share. You have more than enough. When you reap your harvest, you have more than enough. You have more than enough. So you're able to not only be blessed, but to be a blessing to others. You become a blessing to others, which causes so much joy. And again, it is a seed that is being planted in a season that when the harvest comes, you reap that harvest. So when you see people being blessed and when you see them reaping the good that they've done, rejoice with them, not as a phony, not as a fake, or not just wearing the face, but really inside being joyful for them and with them. You will find yourself being lifted up, because you can never do for anyone more than you cause to be done for you. So when you bless somebody, you actually are blessing yourself, because it's like the open hand policy. If my hands are open to receive, if one hand is open to receive and the other hand is open to give, I will always be getting something in order to give. So you'll never go hungry, and you will definitely never go broke. And if you don't believe me, I challenge you to try it. Try it and see what happens. And I guarantee you, you'll come back saying, "Ooh, Johnny Mac, Johnny Mac, Johnny Mac. You were right. You were right." It is a principle. And a principle always works wherever you apply it. It always works wherever you apply it. Summer Grace, welcome. It's good to see you. It is so good to see you. So we're grateful. We're grateful for the principles that God has instituted and that He's placed in the universe, because again, it was placed in the universe for us. It is for our pleasure. It is for our betterment and for our advancement. And so when we use it with that in mind, when we use it freely, and when we use it authentically and in love, then we will begin to receive the love, the manifestation of that crop, of that harvest. We'll be able to sit back and enjoy it, and at the same time still share it with others and bless others. You you will always, when you bless others, you will always be blessed. You will always be blessed. When you give unto others, there will always be a way made that someone will give unto you. And again, not with strings attached, because so often we see people give with strings attached. They give because they want control, or they give to manipulate, or they give to be seen. However, when we give from the heart authentically, that opens up the doors and the windows that the blessings will be poured out of upon us, that we will not have room to receive. And remember, I always say that when you bless others and the blessing comes, when the blessing comes, you won't have room to receive it. And it prompts you to continue to bless others. It's a perpetual cycle. It's a perpetual cycle. When you see people that are always uh, in a situation of uh, turmoil, it is because that's what they have given. So often it is because that's what they have given, whether it is in thought or deed. And we have to be careful in this time and season. We have to be very mindful of the thought patterns that we practice, the thought patterns that we continue to think, because those thought patterns produce and they manifest into what we think. The Bible says, whatsoever a man thinketh, so is he, which means it is something that he thinks very much about. So it begins to manifest. He begins to walk in that light. So if it is a negative thought of yourself, then that's who you will become. And again, we see it played out every day. We've seen it in the workplace. We've seen it here on YouTube. We've seen how people have thought of themselves in a certain way continually. And that is who they have become. That is who they have become. And so, even if you are nice to those people and you treat them with love and kindness, they take that as a weakness, and they to get clout and to um, get notoriety, they come for you. But be not deceived, for God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And when he reaps it, I'm telling you, you will be satisfied. And at the same times, you would have nothing to do with it. You don't have to kill nobody. Um, you don't have to try to take nobody down. You just sit long enough and you'll watch them take themselves down. You'll watch them write checks on an closed account. And when it comes to a head, all the energy that they had, all that energy is no longer there. You know, I watched several content creators recently, um, and I'm seeing that when confronted, a lot of the energy is not there. A lot of the energy that or vitriol that they once had, once they are confronted with decisions to make, the energy, the vitriol, the passion is no longer there. And they try to cover it. But for some of us who have the eye to see, we see you. We see that it's not there. Some of us can even see the pain that you live with every single day because you will not deal with it. There's nothing wrong with getting help. And in this season, let's understand, my people, there is nothing wrong with getting professional help to get the tools and to learn how to use the tools to work through these issues and to overcome them and to gain power over them so that they don't continue to ruin your life. All puff and no smoke, all lions with no teeth and no claws, so they can't hurt you. They can't hurt you. All kinds. And it's one would say, I think most of us would look at it and say it's sad. However, it is what it is. And because it is what it is, I don't know, maybe it's because of my age. I have no kind of feelings for you at that point because you made choices. We make choices. Whether you make educated choices or whether you make uneducated choices, we make choices. And it's not that we're not exposed, because in this day and age with, Google and all these, all this technology, that we can get information, we can learn some things. Rather than do that, we don't, and we stay where we are. Hey, Tiger Lily, my 2 cents, only one, Ray Ellen, Sexy Harlem 125. Yes, I agree with you, Sexy Harlem 125, because I have seen them reap time and time and time again. And it is, however, they don't get it. And then when people separate themselves because they no longer want to be in that environment, and they no longer want to, um, or they no longer want to have that train of thought. They no longer want to belong. When they find themselves becoming more independent or more of an independent thinker, and they separate, people get very upset. Let me say this to you. Your life is more important to you than it is to anyone else. And that means whether it's your spouse, whether it's your children, friends, whatever, your life is very important to you. And your dreams are important to you. And if, in fact, those dreams were not to come true, you would not have those dreams for you. Never let anyone hold you down or make you feel that you are indebted to them to make a choice to stand with them rather than realize your dream. Never, ever give up your dream for anyone, because those are the people that will never give up what they want for yours. Never. They will always make them first. Self-preservation is very important. So when things, and don't wait until the last minute when things are not going well, when you see things, hey, Miss Leo, don't wait to the last minute. Don't wait until fire and brimstone to break away. When your spirit, when your inner man, when your God voice is speaking to you and telling you it is time to depart, depart. Shake the dust off your feet, and regardless what anybody says, move in the direction that is best for you. And you know, when I first came on here and I heard Mr. Sean Bradley speak about don't windmill for me, it took me a moment to sit back and get a clear, I understood what he was saying, but a clear understanding, a personal understanding had to connect with just an understanding. And so I began to understand what that actually means. People will gravitate and pull you in for you to fight for them, but they will not fight for you. They will not fight for themselves. You become a sacrificial lamb. And at the same time, they will not have your back. They leave you out there. Now, we've all been in situations where we've had to fight. And a lot of us have been in those type of group fights where somebody was jumping on us and our friends and our cohorts was with us. Where I come from, a lot of us fought together when those things happen. When somebody tried to jump your friend, you're going to jump in. But you see these people time and time again, they do the same things over and over again. You're out there fighting for them, windmilling, taking the blows, and they're standing there looking at you, taking blows from everybody that they should be getting. And usually it's because they can't fight. They have no fight. But don't ever get out there and fight for anybody. I can understand you fighting for your children. I can understand you fighting for your spouse to a certain extent, people that you love. But don't get so caught up with what appears, because we deal with a lot of appearances, especially on YouTube and even in the workplace. There are a lot of people that give you appearances that appear real, but it's totally false. It's not who they are, because when it comes down to it, when it comes to getting to work, they won't get to work. They'll talk a good game and push you out there for you to be slaughtered as the sacrificial lamb. But darling, Jesus died a long time ago as the sacrificial lamb. And that's not my calling. That is not my calling. And if you want to be upset and you want to be hurt or playing the part of being hurt, you go ahead. If that works for you, you go for it. You get the Oscar for the person that for the best actress in a I'm hurt scene, or actor, and please protect yourself. Protect yourself. Be an independent thinker. Keep your eyes and ears open. Be careful of the alliances you make. the promises you make to people that do not have your best interest at heart, people that are not willing to share, people that are not willing to have your back. And having your back does not mean getting down off the porch and fighting for you. That's not what it's about. Having your back is being able to tell you, look, sis, look, bro, um, that, you're going in an area or in a direction that is defeating your purpose. You don't have to do that. You've got what it takes. You don't have to do that. That's also having your back, as well as someone standing. Yeah, that's right. I totally, Miss Leo 814. It means keeping you honest, and that is as much as behind closed doors as it is in the public. Because so often I may not say anything to you in public because we're in public. But when we are behind closed doors, I'm obligated as someone that cares and loves you to pull your coattail and say, no, that's not what we're doing. That is not the direction that you're going in. You're getting off course. You're paying too much attention to false narratives. You're paying too much attention to the lights and the sparkle, the shiny object. No, don't get stuck on the shiny object, because the shiny object is just there to distract you from your goal, from your destiny. And you're right, some people don't like to be told anything. And when you come in contact with those people that don't like to be told anything, you have to make a decision. Do I stay or do I say farewell? And there are times when you have to say farewell, and not just say it, but mean it. Because if you stay, it's a detriment to your health and well-being. Exactly, my 2 cents. I can't feel sorry for you when I told you, um, don't play with the gun, and you go ahead on and play with the gun with 15 rounds in it, and it's a semi-automatic. So when you press it, it shoots more than one bullet, and you shoot yourself in the foot and almost lose your foot. I can't feel sorry for you. I can, but I won't, because you've already been told, don't play with the gun. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing, so don't play with it. Stay away from it. Until you learn how to use it, don't play with it. It is not a toy. It is not a toy. But when you come up to someone, or you're involved with someone that doesn't want to listen or doesn't want to hear, again, I always explain listening and hearing with two different meanings. Listening is always with intellect, but hearing is with spirit. When I care about you, you are going to hear me. Your spirit is going to resonate with what I'm saying and override your intellect, because your spirit is leading you right. But your intellect will lead you by what you feel. You'll pay more attention to what you feel with your intellect, which again stops at that point, and then you begin just to feel. But when your spirit hears, when your spirit hears, or when your spiritual ears hear what the Spirit saith unto the church, then it resonates in your spirit and you become obedient. And that obedience always saves your life. It saves your emotion. It saves you turmoil. It will save you turmoil. Good afternoon, Etta Harrell. Good to see you. It saves you. It will save you. It will keep you from unnecessary pain. And I don't know what it is with my people, is that we love the unnecessary. We love the unnecessary pain. We love the unnecessary turmoil. We love the unnecessary chaos. Some of us feel that if there is no chaos involved with a project or with an experience, we cannot wrap our minds around it. We can't function. But we need to rethink these things in our lives. There doesn't need to be chaos for us to move from one level to another. There does not need to be chaos. And believe me, you control, when you have a relationship with God, and you know, I always get back to your relationship with God. When you have that personal relationship, there's a lot of things that God gives you power over just by what you speak. So when you see the chaos coming, you can rebuke the chaos, and the chaos has to flee out of your experience. Yes, it can. If you're not careful, it's like what I said before, Ms. Rael, and the shiny object. So often, the drama becomes like the shiny object, and oftentimes it causes us to not block our blessing, but not recognize the blessing. And see, I'm a firm believer that you cannot block what God has already said is yours. You cannot block your blessing. You can only refuse it, not accept it, and not be in the place to receive your blessing. Because when God says that you are blessed, regardless, you are blessed. However, if you don't receive the blessing, if you don't accept the blessing, if you're not grateful for the blessing, if you're not cognizant of the blessing, if you move from where the blessing is, the blessing will always be in that spot for you. But you've gone in another direction. And so often we're looking for the blessing in a place where God has not put it. And I'm preaching right now. But it's time to realize and to open ourselves up to hear the voice of God so that we are in the place that God's blessings have been promised, and the place where his blessings will manifest. And we open our arms and we receive all the blessings that God has for us. And yes, those who don't recognize it, those who don't understand it, will be upset, and we'll want to start drama. We'll want to keep drama going. But when you are blessed of God, the drama really does not affect you. Because if I'm focusing on being grateful for the blessing, excuse me, whatever drama you got going on, it's not going to bother me because I'm being I'm in a place of rejoicing. And in that place of rejoicing, there is no negative behavior or thoughts that can pull me out of it if I'm really rejoicing authentically. And I'm not rejoicing just because of the blessing, but I'm rejoicing because it is it excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat. It is part of who I am to rejoice. It is part of the command of Yahweh to me to rejoice. To every one of us that he calls his is to rejoice. Even in adversity, rejoice. Because when you rejoice, it has an effect on the entire atmosphere. And when you are rejoicing, those negative spirits, which are depression and chaos and drama, can't enter. They cannot stand up under rejoicing. They cannot stand up under love. They cannot stand up under peace. They cannot stand up under getting along. Excuse me. They can't stand up under that. They have to flee. They have to move. They have to change their direction. They have to change the address. They have to change the address that they were coming to. And again, if you do not believe what I'm saying, I dare you, I double D dare you to try it. Oh boy, excuse me. That's why David said, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. Now, what is that saying? Let me break that down a little bit. That said to me that no matter what happens, I will bless the Lord and his praise will continue to be in my mouth. No matter what it looks like, I am going to give him praise. And I am going to bless him because it is as well as it is, and it could be worse. So whatever happens, I'm going to continue to praise him, because in praising him, praise has a tendency to build a tunnel. Praise has a tendency to break down walls. Praise has a tendency to push back the enemy, that I can keep moving in the direction. And when you praise, the enemy can growl, just like that lion with no teeth and no claws. He still can growl. He still has noise that he can make. But he cannot harm me. He cannot stop me. It's just the sound. I no longer have fear of his growl because I know he has no power. He has no power. He has no power over you. He may be the prince of the air and the powers of the air. In other words, if you don't create your own atmosphere, wherever you are, wherever you go, if you don't create an atmosphere of power, love, and a sound mind, yes, he will control it. But when he sees that you have that God didn't give you the spirit of fear, but he gave you the spirit of love, the spirit of power, and the spirit of a sound mind, he cannot infiltrate. He cannot tear you down, regardless of the noise he makes outside of you, Because when you walk in, you create a whole different atmosphere. It's like the light being turned on. Whenever you turn on the light in a dark room, the darkness runs and hides. The darkness runs and hides. Yes, Tiger Lily, I'm fine. It's just I had a little tickle in my throat. The darkness has to run and hide because it cannot comprehend the light. It cannot get along with the light. It cannot subdue the light. So when the light comes in, he runs. So you are the light. You are the light of the world. A city that sits on a hill that cannot be hid. They can't put the evil or the forces or the drama cannot damper your light. It can't put your light out. It can't hide your light. It can't filter your light. Your light shines because you are the light. So then, no, it was just a tickle. It was just a tickle that got in my throat. I think I got a little excited and I got a little tickle in my throat, but I'm fine. I am fine. But thank you. I appreciate that. It cannot, the drama cannot take over you. It cannot control you. And the reason why it can't control you is because you have made up in your mind that this is not the direction I want to go in. Because some of the things I have seen in the last few months have really been disheartening. They've been discouraging, and they will make you feel that if you allow it, it will make you think that there is no headway being made for a better atmosphere. But then that's the time when you step back and again, you begin to bless the Lord in that moment. Because we are creatures that so often are controlled by what we see. So when we don't see it manifesting right away, we tend to get a little discouraged. We tend to get a little discouraged. We tend to feel a little bad about it, and we allow it to get to us where we give up. And when you give up, you open yourself up to become the very thing that you didn't want to receive. So that's the point. When we grab a hold to, I will bless the Lord at all times, and his praise shall continually be in my mouth. Sometimes you have to remind yourself, this is just a trick. This is just a trick to make me give up my standing, to make me give up on my decision that I've made. But no. I'm not going to give it up because God is too good. God has been too good. And I am the personification of the blessings of God. Each one of us are the personification of the blessings of God. We've come through this and we've come through that. We've come from over there to over here, and not on our own, but he brought us. He predestined us to be right where we are. He predestined us to touch the individuals and encourage and inspire and empower the individuals that we inspire and that we encourage and that we enlighten and that we give strength to. So don't you allow what you see to control how you move forward. Don't you dare. I said it some time ago that I noticed in the spirit realm on YouTube how things had begun to change. I spoke about a shift that had begun to take place, like boom. I had noticed it was in the it was in motion, but at one point, boom, a shift happened. And as it began to happen, I began to experience certain things to try to knock me back. But then I got a word. It's not that serious. It's not that serious because it's only a smoke screen. It's only being done to try to get me to take down what or take back what I said. I'm not taking it back. I see it. I saw it. And I'm beginning to see more of the manifestation now more than ever before. And people are angry. People are upset. They can't deal with it. But that's not my problem. But in the meantime, I will bless the Lord at all times. Because I got the time. I've got the time to bless him. I got the time. I got the time to bless him. I've got the time to praise him. Do I have the time? Yes, I've got the time. I may not be able to turn back the hands of time on some of the wrong decisions I made. However, I've learned from those experiences that have given me strength and conviction for where I am today, that I will not take down because I don't have to. I'm not going to take down. And all of you that are standing, do not take down because of what you see. What you see is temporal. It's temporary. Abba. Oh, there we go. These things that we're seeing right now are just temporary. They're the prelude to the greater blessing. They're a prelude. They're the introduction to walking into this new season. And this new season is springing forth with an effervescent joy. That every time you think about it, that joy becomes even more alive. And not a joy that's from the outside of you, but it's a joy that's inside, springing up. It's springing up. It's bubbling up on the inside. Y'all know I'm talking, right? This is why you're not moved when you see these things and you're able to laugh. Okay, Miss Leo. This is why you're able to shake your head and not really feel anything about it. This is why you see it and it doesn't move you. It doesn't touch your emotion to the point where you no longer feel like that's so sad. You no longer feel that because you understand that the seeds have been sown. They have been sown. They have germinated. And now you see what it has produced. And so you have no sorrow or no real connection with the choices or with the repercussions of those choices that people have made. However, you are even more blessed because you made the decision to step away, to step off, to say farewell. It is time for me to move. As Mahalia Jackson used to sing, move on up a little higher. Ooh, I like that. You begin to move on up a little higher. See, some of you feel like you're moving away. No, you're not moving away. You're moving up. You're moving closer to your dream. You're moving closer to your success. You're moving closer to a deeper relationship with the Creator. That's what you're moving to. You're not just moving from, but you're moving to. And that's what I love about it. Because you move away from someone that you no longer agree with. You're not aimlessly moving away, but you're moving to, you're moving up, and you're moving in. So be encouraged. Be encouraged. Be encouraged. Be encouraged. And do not allow what you see at this point to make you flinch. Don't let the drama make you flinch. Don't let the drama make you sweat. Because the drama, really, when you look at it and when you dissect it, it's not real. And it is not going to affect you. It's not going to have any long-term effect. Have you seen recently how things have been happening and they pass so quickly until you think you think it might have been a month or two ago and it was just last week? Believe me, believe me. I was so encouraged today when I saw certain things, and I don't know if a lot of people caught it, but Leo the Lioness Queen did make mention, which also had begun to connect. It had what she said had connected with me because I see it. I see it. It has no effect. No effect whatsoever. Some things and some practices and some behaviors have run their course. They are old. They are insignificant. They are ineffective. And again, you begin to have no emotion about it. Not even enough to say, "Oh, that is so sad." You just don't feel anything, which again shows you personally, up front and personally shows you, wow, look at how I've grown. Look at the things that God is bringing out of me. Absolutely, absolutely. Leo the Lioness Queen, that peace that passes all understanding. And people don't get it. And see, that's the point. They don't understand your peace. It surpasses their understanding. It even surpasses our own understanding because there are times when we don't understand why I'm at such peace with this craziness. This is crazy, but I'm in total peace. And I'm not emotionally attached. I'm not emotionally involved. My emotions are not being controlled by an outward development, but it is controlled by the spirit, the God voice that is inside of me, the spirit that promised to be in me and with me and to bring everything back to my remembrance that he's taught me. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And it's a wonderful feeling. It's a beautiful place to be. And I'm going to tell you all, most of the people in this chat, I have recognized that in you. I have seen that in you. I have seen it in you. And it makes me proud. It really makes me proud. And you know what happened? I begin to rejoice. All right, Jazzy. It makes me godly proud. And it causes me to rejoice. Because again, when I rejoice because of your upliftment and the manifestation of your blessing, God will not let me not be a recipient of blessings. So I've learned to rejoice with them that do rejoice. And then it is my job to remind you that, hey, I see this in you. Rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. So I'm glad. And I thank you for this time. I didn't want to be on more than an hour. And I'm clocking the time, if you will. So, do we have the time? Yes, we have the time. We have the time to adjust and adapt. And in the process, we are going to be thankful and grateful for where we are and where we're going, where God is lifting us to, because he's lifting us up where we belong. No, we cannot turn back the hands of time. We can't turn the clock back. However, what we can do is start from this moment and recognize, thank you, God. I am grateful. And why are you grateful? Because God chose you to manifest himself to in a personal way. So personal that nobody can copy it. Nobody can have it. It is between you and him. And let me say this. I'm not saying this from the bottom of my heart, but I'm saying this with my entire heart. I love all of you. I appreciate all of you. And I pray for each and every one of you. I pray for every one of you. I pray for every one of you that God will continue to manifest himself in a personal way that can never be denied and cause you to be so close to him that when he whispers, not only do you hear, but you immediately obey without any second thought and walk into your destiny, because that's where he's leading you. He's leading you into a life that is of abundant supply, which is more than enough. So I bless you all. And we love and appreciate you. And thank you for loving and appreciating me. God bless you. And just before we go, I just want to say this little prayer. Lord, we thank you for this moment. We thank you for the revelation of your word. We thank you for the utterance of your word. For we know that your word is powerful. and nothing can stand up to your word. Everything will fall and crumble before one dot or tittle of your word will pass away. We thank you that in your word we find your promises. And at this point right now, we take this time out to say yes, and that we accept every promise that you have promised us. That if we will obey you, we will eat from the fat of the land. That when there's a famine, we'll still eat. And when there's no money, we'll still be able to spend. We thank you. We thank you for the promises that we have complete healing in you. And those in our midst and those that are connected to us that need healing. Kay got a body 13. Patrice Cunningham, and others, God, whose names have been mentioned in other chats in my hearing today. We stand in agreement for their healing, their complete healing, because we realize that you do not do anything halfway, but you are a God of completion, and you will complete the work. You will complete the healing. You will complete the blessing in each and every one of us, in each and every one of our lives. And we're grateful. So reach out your hand. Stretch out your hand and continue to heal. And we're grateful. We thank you that you are lifting us up where we belong and making us an example throughout this YouTube experience. We are becoming an example not only for those on YouTube, but for the world, for your glory and your honor. And that men may see our good works and glorify the Father which is in heaven. Yahweh, we are grateful. We are thankful. Now, God, everyone under the sound of my voice and everyone that is in the bushes, I pray and declare and decree that their life will no longer be the same from this day forward, and that your spirit in them have been activated, and that it stirs them up until they completely turn to you. And we thank you. We thank you, Selah. So now, to everyone that is in this chat, I decree and declare love unto you, much love, more love than you can imagine or conceive in your mind, more love than your heart can feel, and much more love than your hands can hold. Because when you love yourself, your God, and your fellow man as yourself, guess what? You have kept the commandments of God. Jesus said, I don't do away with the commandments, but I'm going to sum it all up in this one thing. Love God, love yourself, and love your fellow man as yourself. I bid you a wonderful evening. Thank you again, and be blessed.